All right, there's a lot going on around the Chicago Bears here on a Saturday. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. The Bears have made 3 roster moves, 2 players to IR. They've signed 1 player to the 53-man roster, which means they do still have an open roster spot. We'll tell you about it all here on today's show. But if you would, please go hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow tremendously. We, of course, will be live tomorrow for Bears versus Cowboys at 2 o'clock Central, kickoff at 3:25, so do not miss out. Okay, Jaylon Johnson has officially been placed on injured reserve. Obviously, no surprise here. The only question now is this the end of the season for Jaylon? Because he, of course, suffered another groin injury. It seems to be kind of complicated. Do they need a surgery? Do they not? Could they try to rehab him and get him back in, 2 months or something like that? Seems to be a bit up in the air at this point in time, but no surprise that he's been placed on IR. That means he'll miss at least 4 games. You've got the 2 games before the bye week, and then Washington, and I believe the Saints are the 2 games after the bye weeks. That would be the minimum, likely much more than that, likely the rest of the season, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously a devastating blow for the Bears to lose Jaylon Johnson. There's no question about it. I kind of thought this one was coming too, and it is. Amegadjie has also been placed on injured reserve with an elbow injury. Remember, Wednesday's practice, he was listed as limited with an elbow, and there was no prior injury. So typically when someone's limited in the first practice of the week, that means they either got banged up in the game before, well, he didn't play, or they got hurt in that practice. They started practice fully healthy, but then they got injured. Well, that clearly seemed to be what happened here with Karan, because he did not practice the rest of the week, and now he's been placed on IR, and obviously he was inactive last week. So he's out at least a month, and it's just, this pick is looking like another whiff from Ryan Poles. And, I'm not trying to go after Amegadjie or anything, but he can't stay healthy when he is on the field. They're trying him at guard now, which I think is a good move. I wanted to try him on the inside, but he's clearly your last offensive lineman on your 53. He's that 10th guy. So, I wouldn't be shocked if he's just down for the rest of the season. And, he has next training camp to try and prove he's worthy of being on this roster, because I just don't see what's his path to being a player that plays for this team moving forward. You're hoping he can become a good backup at this point, and obviously that feels like a stretch. So Amegadjie, Jaylon Johnson to IR. Jaylon could be out for the year. Unclear on how significant Amegadjie's elbow injury is, but he is out as well. Okay, one of those 2 spots has been filled by Tanoh Kpassagnon, as he has been signed to the 53-man roster from the practice squad. I figured this was coming somehow, and with Amegadjie getting banged up this week, kind of makes it an easy switch there. Obviously, with Jaylon going to IR, that was going to free up at least 1 spot, but with Amegadjie going down 2, you have 2 open roster spots. You sign Amegadjie from the practice squad, because remember, practice squad elevations, you only get 3 of those for game days. He had already used 2. He was up for the first 2 games, had a sack in the season opener, so he's at least been able to show a little something for this pass rush that is severely lacking. He's been better than Dominic Robinson, I would say. And obviously, Daniel Hardy's been really just used on special teams. So Kpassagnon to the 53-man roster. It appears they'll just stick with 52 for now. We'll see if that carries into next week or if they add someone to the 53. Remember, Austin Booker and Travis Homer would be eligible to be activated from IR after next week's game. So they could just roll with 52 for the next 2 games. You only have 46, 47 active on game day anyway. So we'll see how they handle that. Probably depends on where Booker and Homer statuses are heading into the bye week. All right, so that is the Bears roster moves. A potentially significant injury for Dallas when it comes to this game. Want to discuss that in a minute, but first, do have to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day And on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this week on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I'm rolling here on this college football Saturday. I've already nailed a couple of lineups. Shout out Eric McAllister, the TCU wide receiver. Took the more on his receiving yards. He went for 254, so paired that with a couple other hits and made some money. Got a couple lineups the rest of the day as well. Also have a lineup for tomorrow, and for week 3, Prize Picks is offering a max discount for Patrick Mahomes of more than half a passing yard. I've used that in a 3-player lineup, as I also took the more on Caleb Williams, 218.5 passing yards, and Dak Prescott, 250.5 passing yards. And with both secondaries banged up, including a key piece for Dallas we're about to discuss, I like that quite a bit. $20 entry to win $105. It's very easy to play at Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups. And if you hit, you win money, and you can win up to 2,000 times your entry on certain lineups. That's right. $10 can turn into 20,000. So what are you waiting for? Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. Once you play your first $5 lineup, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. Once you play your first $5 lineup, Prize Picks, it's good to be right. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. That link is in the description and comments of this video to download the app today. Okay. Trevon Diggs, who was ill, he was sick earlier this week, didn't practice on Wednesday, but practiced in full the last 2 days. Well, he's been a re-add to the injury report for Dallas with a knee injury, and kind of gives me vibes of Kyler Gordon week 1. Remember, he was practicing, and then he was a late add to the practice report with that hammy, listed as questionable, hasn't played since. Now, this is a knee injury. Don't know if it was something prior, what's going on with Diggs, but this would be a notable omission for Dallas' secondary because DaRon Bland is already out. So you would be down your top 2 corners if Diggs also can't play in this game, which would be a huge break for Chicago because the Bears are down their top 2 corners with Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon. So that would kind of even out in a sense overall. Now the Bears are more banged up in general. TJ Edwards is also out. Jaylon Jones is also out. But from a starting secondary standpoint, both teams would be down their top 2 starters. That would certainly, you would think, lead to the Bears having some big opportunities in their passing game with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the receivers. So keep an eye on this between today and tomorrow. We'll see if more news drops on Trevon Diggs' status, but that is a key note. And I think it's also notable they elevated, Dallas did, 2 practice squad corners for game day elevation. So they're at least preparing themselves to have those guys ready to go and to be active if they are needed tomorrow. Now, an interesting nugget here from Courtney Cronin before we get out of here on a Saturday. Hope everybody's enjoying their college football Saturday. She had the note Jaylon and Karan to injured reserve. We already covered that. Tanoh Kpassagnon to the 53 as well. She said Carl Jones Jr. and Trey Flowers were elevated to the game day roster, practice squad elevations. Now, unless I missed something, Trey Flowers is not on the Bears practice squad. He was initially, but it was reported that he was cut and that someone by the name of Dallas Flowers replaced his spot on the practice squad. So I don't know if Dallas Flowers is the guy who's been elevated, or I don't know if that initial report was inaccurate, but regardless, it sounds like one of them is elevated for game day, which isn't a surprise because you need an extra corner. You only have 4 healthy guys on the 53 for this game with Nashawn Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Josh Blackwell, and Nick McLeod. So I don't know if it's Trey Flowers or Dallas Flowers. I haven't seen if anyone else has this report. Just scrolling back through my Twitter here, Courtney's the only one with it. So I don't know if she got confused on the Flowers or if the report was wrong. Let's see if this Bears.com. No, it is Dallas Flowers. Bears.com released an article. Dallas Flowers elevated for this game, as was Carl Jones Jr. So it's not Trey Flowers. I don't know much of anything about Dallas Flowers other than he's a defensive back. So if he has to play tomorrow, that's probably not great news for the Chicago Bears. But we'll see how it all plays out. Hit that subscribe button on the way out and drop your score predictions in the comment section below. Bears, Cowboys. Who wins this game on Sunday as Matt Eberflus makes his return to Soldier Field? Bears versus Cowboys. Get those score predictions in. My name is Harrison Graham. Enjoy the rest of your college football Saturday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.